Assume that you own an apartment building with 4 floors. Each of the floors has a studio apartment, a 1-bedroom apartment, and a 2-bedroom apartment. The monthly rent for each type of apartment is different. The higher the floor, the higher the rent. And the rent is higher for apartments with more bedrooms. To determine a tenant's rent, you need to know 2 pieces of information: the floor and the number of bedrooms in the apartment. This would be a perfect use for a 2-dimensional array. A 2-dimensional array is an array of arrays. It's easiest to picture 2-dimensional arrays as having both rows and columns. We use 2 subscripts when we access an element in a 2-dimensional array. Let's turn this matrix into a program that asks our users for the floor they live on and how many bedrooms they have, and it will return the monthly rent to them. In the apartment rent class, I've already prompted the user to enter a floor and enter the number of bedrooms, and I've captured both of those numbers into an integer. I've created a monthly rent variable that will update according to the number of bedrooms in the floor that they enter. I've also provided an output and a method to ask the user to select another floor or to exit out of our loop. Now we need to take our table and turn it into a 2-dimensional array. Rather than have the array created each time the program loops through, I'm going to place it at the top of my program. I'll create my array by placing in the data type, followed by 2 square brackets that represent each of the dimensions for the array. This is followed by the name of the array. I will initialize my array by providing a list of values for each of the dimensions. Our array will contain 4 rows and 3 columns. Each row is placed in an inner set of curly brackets, and each of those rows are offset with commas. So inside this first set of inner curly brackets will be my values for my first floor. Likewise, the second set will contain my values for floor 2, floor 3, and lastly, floor 4. The first row represents the rents, and the position that the rent amount is in will allow us to determine whether it's for a studio, a 1-bedroom, or a 2-bedroom. Now we access this much like we would an Excel spreadsheet whenever we talk about columns, except we're going to use subscripts instead. The first row of the array holds the 3 integers that represent the value of the rent on the first floor. As you'll recall from working with arrays, the first value in our array is element 0 rather than 1, so we will need to account for that whenever we are pulling information out of the array. Now that I have my array defined, I'm ready to try to pull values out of it. I've captured the floor inside of a floor variable, and I've captured the bedrooms inside of the bedrooms. Inside of our monthly rent integer, we'll grab ints. We'll take the floor value that they pass in, followed by the bedrooms value that they pass in. That will return an int value that corresponds with the data point in our array, and we'll print that value out. Let's test our program. So I should get a value, looking at our graph, I should get a value of 500. However, I'm getting a value of 650. As you'll recall, our first elements in our array are at 0. So I need to adjust my pool from the array to be the floor minus 1, and that will give me the items inside of the first element of the array at index position 0. Instead, it's actually pulling the value for floor, which is 1, and it's accessing the second row at this time. Let's make the adjustments and see if it works now. Let's check our high range now. Let's check our 4th floor and our 2-bedroom. Yep, and I'm getting the right number there as well. If my bedrooms also began at 1 instead of 0, I would need to adjust the variable that I'm using to pull the bedrooms out of the 2-dimensional array. The reason for that is that each user's input would be one bedroom higher than the position in the array. Testing your program will help you determine if you are using the correct elements to access the items inside of your two-dimensional array.